I expected this module to actually be like a typical SMU module where we have to do like a lot of research and then write the report as well as refining content for the educational video.
I've taken an SMU course, SMUX course before, so I was thinking it would be kind of similar, like a hybrid course. So we had lectures and then we had the semester-long project. So I expected the same thing.
I think for both of us, what we expected from the course was maybe something more like theoretical, like less hands-on. Maybe just like doing a lot of research and like a lot of like writing instead of like actually going down to all these like different places that we've never been before and interacting with these people that we've also, it's like a demographic that we've never interacted with before. Before the class, I found the main problem about the LIF community was the lack of financial literacy or having a problem with their spending and savings. But I was totally wrong. I met one elderly uncle in the HDB in the Chinatown, and he lives a very regular life. For example, like 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., he always attend the HDB exercise course. Then after that, he goes out for work. And even though he had a mobility problem, he was on a motor ride, and even though it was a bit difficult for him to move around compared to normal people, he always go out for his work. And he was working as a Grab driver, and even though some of us may thought that it was an uncertain job, he continues to do it.
If we are being honest with ourselves, right, if we were in a different situation, maybe not the same as theirs, but if the tables were turned in a way, we could also have very easily been in their shoes. There was one of the people that we interviewed was an uncle who actually was quite a well-to-do businessman, but because of COVID, he basically lost his entire business, and he lost all his fortunes, and today he's just struggling to make ends meet lah.
After our first interview, they invited us in for like tea and snacks, and I think it was also because like they were like elderly Indian ladies, and like I talked to them in Tamil, so that was like the kind of like closer cultural bond. They were going to eat lunch anyways, so they offered us some tea and also some snacks and maybe a bit of that lunch also, and we said no because we wanted to maintain the strict professional boundaries. But I think for me it was also like kind of moving because these are people who just like literally 2 minutes ago confided in us that sometimes they don't have enough money to buy groceries and they depend on like CDC vouchers to buy a bit more groceries, and then now they're willing to share that with us. Even with little things that they have, they're always just like, we're willing to share, come on inside, let's have some tea, let's make some conversation.
Interviewed a mother of a few children, and she shared that the challenges she faced are definitely not easy. Like how many meals you want to cook, like the ingredients she has to divide. But what drove her in life was the achievements that her children had. So I remember during our visit, she told us that one of her children like made a phone call to her saying that, "Oh, mommy, I passed my English," and she was really very happy about it. Like she told us that she was so happy that like she teared up upon hearing that, and I think that really like stood out to me because low income families are just like you and I, like they are just humans with a sense of like wanting the best for their family and celebrating each other's achievements.
There was a huge element of going out there, a lot of field work, a lot of interaction with stakeholders, especially at Better Coffee. I think that was one of the most impactful stakeholder meetings that we had because it's very heartening to see companies that actually care about pulling people out of the situation that they're in and giving them the opportunity and the tools and the chance to actually fulfill their potential. And that leads me on to a very important point. I think everyone has an incredible amount of potential that is just untapped. And companies like that give people the opportunity to like actually exercise their potential is very heartening to see.
As example, they actually face systemic issues, so it's really beyond individual circumstances that they are in this kind of situation they are in right now.
We need to recognize that they still have and should still have dignity, and we should view them as such.
Really, you have to go in with empathy, you have to have active listening, to really fully understand the situation that they are in, and then to really see how, from what we gather from this interview, to see how we can actually really help them.
Lower income families have dignity. They are more hardworking, more independent, and live happier lives than we think.
If we really want a change, if we really want to help the lower income families, what we can really do is to check our own beliefs first and see whether our understanding of their circumstances really align with reality. Because most of the time, what we do is we place even more shame on them, such that it gets difficult for them to seek aid, it gets more difficult for them to just move up the social ladder. Ultimately, I hope that through this project, we just break the stigmas that we currently place on lower income families, and potentially to just help them feel less ashamed about their situations.
They are someone, so we can't treat them as like a single statistic on a data point. We can't treat them as like a one-off case, because they matter, and I think we should give them the space to make sure that their stories are being heard, and we should offer them that empathy and compassion to reach out to them, and just treat them as kindly as you would treat your own mom, your own brother, your own sister, for they are people at the end of the day.